So, you've ever been there? You decide you want to find some great Bible resources for the kids in your life. You hop online, you do a quick search, and you're just hit with this endless wall of options. It's completely overwhelming. The goal is simple, right? Make the Bible engaging. But where do you even begin? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down and give you a simple framework to find the perfect fit.
You know, this quote from the Treehouse Schoolhouse blog it really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not just about reading stories. It's about nurturing a real understanding and a personal faith. That's a huge and incredibly important job, and having the right tools can make all the difference in the world.
And that is the million-dollar question. I mean, you type Kids Bible into a search bar, and you are just flooded with storybooks, animated shows, apps, entire homeschool programs. It is a lot. So our goal here is to give you a simple, totally manageable way to cut through all that noise.
All right, let's dive right into part 1, starting with the story. We're talking about the absolute foundation here, Bibles and storybooks. Before we even get to all the cool apps and videos and music, we have to start here. Because honestly, deciding on this core book is probably the most important first step you're going to take.
Okay, so the very first big decision is understanding the difference between these two. Over on the left, you've got your full text Bibles for kids. This is the whole shebang, the complete scripture, but it's designed to help kids learn how to actually use a Bible, finding books, chapters, and verses. Then on the right, you have storybook Bibles. Now, these are different. Think of them as a greatest hits collection. They are curated stories, retold in language kids can easily get, and they often weave a single powerful theme through the whole book.
Now, within that storybook world, the variety is just amazing. For example, the Jesus Storybook Bible is just so beloved because it has this wonderful focus on how every single story whispers Jesus' name. But hey, if you've got a kid who's all about comics, then the Action Bible might be a total home run with its graphic novel style. The Biggest Story uses these absolutely gorgeous illustrations to connect the dots from Eden to the cross, and the Beginner's Gospel Story Bible is just perfect for the littlest ones, like toddlers and preschoolers.
Let's move on to part 2, dynamic engagement. This is where we go beyond the printed page and bring in audio, video, and music. I mean, these are incredible tools for reinforcing what kids are learning. They're perfect for the car ride to school, for quiet time at home, or, for a family movie night. Podcasts for kids are such a game changer for screen-free learning. If you want something really immersive, Kids Bible Stories is fantastic. It's like an old-school radio drama with sound effects and everything. For something more about character, Paws and Tails uses these really charming animal stories. And if you need something quick for a short attention span, God's Big Story is perfect. And for tackling those bigger questions, Tiny Theologians does an amazing job explaining concepts about God in a way that kids can actually understand.
And when it comes to video, wow, the options are just as awesome. Superbook is a huge hit with elementary-aged kids. It has this fun time travel plot that makes Bible events super exciting. For older kids, and let's be real, for adults too, the Bible Project's animated videos are just brilliant for explaining really complex biblical ideas. Of course, you've got the classic VeggieTales for fun moral lessons. And for older kids and teens, The Chosen offers this really compelling, high-quality look at the life of Jesus.
And let's not forget the power of music. Seriously, is there any better way to get something to stick in your brain than a catchy song? Seeds Family Worship is amazing for this. They literally take scripture, word for word, and set it to really great music. Slugs and Bugs is just full of fun, kind of whimsical songs that are great for the whole family. And of course, you can't go wrong with the classics from Steve Green's Hide 'Em in Your Heart.
All right, let's shift gears a little for part 3, structured learning. So we've talked about stories and media, which are great for engagement. Now we're going to look at resources for a more formal, structured approach, perfect for homeschooling, Sunday school, or just for a more focused study time at home.
Just take a second and look at that number. Over 700. That's how many free, ready-to-go lesson plans are available from just one website, Ministry to Children. So that idea that you have to create everything from scratch, it's a total myth. The resources are out there, and you'd be shocked at how many of them are completely free.
So with all those freebies, how do you even choose? Well, this chart breaks down 2 of the biggest players. Think of it this way. If you want to teach on a specific topic, like, say, the fruit of the Spirit or the armor of God, Ministry to Children is going to be your best friend. It's organized by theme. But if you want to teach through the Bible's big story in order, chronologically from creation onward, then Mission Bible Class is set up to do exactly that.
On to part 4, hands-on faith. Okay, so we've gone from structured lessons to something a little more active. This is all about making these big, abstract concepts tangible. It's about taking faith off the page and literally putting it into our kids' hands, which is just so important for making it stick.
So a key technique you'll see all over the place here is the object lesson. Now, it might sound a little formal, but it's an incredibly simple and powerful idea. You just use a real-world object to explain a spiritual truth. It connects something abstract that's hard to grasp, like forgiveness, to something a child can physically see and touch. And that just helps cement it in their mind.
And listen, this goes way beyond just coloring pages, although hey, those are great too. We're talking about themed games that help review a story, crafts that reinforce a lesson, and really cool activities for holidays, like using resurrection eggs to tell the Easter story. But I think the most important piece of this is finding activities that challenge kids to ask that question, okay, so what? How does this apply to my life?
Okay, part 5, the takeaway. We have covered a ton of ground. Books, media, curricula, crafts, the works. So now, let's bring it all home. How do you actually decide what's right for your family in your situation right now?
This right here, this slide is your decision-making framework. It's not about finding the one perfect resource that will last forever. It's about finding the right one for right now. Just ask yourself these 4 questions. First, what's your child's age? What works for a toddler is totally different than what works for a preteen. Second, what's their learning style? Would they love a podcast, or do they really need a hands-on craft to stay engaged? Third, what's your goal? Are you trying to memorize scripture, or are you trying to understand the big picture story? And finally, what's your context? A 5-minute family devotional needs a very different tool than a full-on homeschool lesson.
And that brings us right to the final question. After looking at all these options, please don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Just ask yourself, what is one new resource you can try this week? Maybe it's a new podcast for the drive to school, or a new storybook to read before bed. The goal isn't perfection. It's just about taking that next small, intentional